This is SportsCentre.
Hey, I'm Marissa Berto. It's a big night for the Jets in the Mile High City tonight. There's a lot of optimism when Connor Hellebuyck returned last Saturday and backstopped them to a 5-1 win against Washington. Since then, they have reverted back to their previous struggles and dropped 2 straight with the reigning Hart Trophy winner back between the pipes. Winnipeg has actually won just 3 of their last 14 and are 5 points back at the final wildcard spot in the West. It's quite a fall from grace from the reigning President's Trophy winners, while their opponents in Colorado tonight have a league-leading 55 points and have won 5 of their last 6. Winnipeg's problems haven't been limited to keeping the puck out of the net. With or without Hellebuyck, they're ranked 19th or worse in shots per game and in both goals for and against. In fact, after getting blanked by the Blues on Wednesday, the Jets have been shut out 4 times already this season, the second most of any team in the league. If they're going to turn things around, there's no better time than right now to right the ship. Viewers in the Jets region can watch them take on the Avs at 7:30 Central on TSN 3. Week 16 of the NFL season kicked off with an absolute banger last night as the Seahawks stunned the Rams in overtime. And that was arguably the best game of the season. Seattle trailed 30-14 in the 4th quarter before storming back for their first win when trailing by 16 or more in the 4th quarter in franchise history. They have lost their previous 155 games in that situation. According to ESPN Analytics, Seattle's win probability dipped as low as 1.2%, but they were able to force OT after one of the most bizarre plays we've ever seen, when this botched 2-point conversion attempt was eventually ruled a backwards pass, and therefore a live ball, despite everyone on the field assuming the play was dead. Zach Charbonnet just happened to pick up the ball in the end zone, leading to the attempt being deemed successful. After the Rams scored a TD in OT, the Seahawks responded with one of their own and became the first team to ever win an overtime game with a 2-point conversion. What's crazier is they were just the 5th team to ever convert 3 2-point attempts in the 4th quarter and/or overtime, but they hadn't even attempted one all season prior to Thursday. The win claimed their first playoff berth since 2022 and now sees them atop both the NFC West and the entire conference, while the Rams drop all the way down to the 5th seed. And Week 16 continues tomorrow with the first Saturday games this season, starting with the defending champs looking to clinch the NFC East in Washington, followed by an NFC North showdown between the Packers and Bears. Coverage begins at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific on CTV and TSN. 10 9, my favorite segment on yours at We Love Sports Today.
Why we love sports today.
Jalen Duren and the Pistons are both enjoying breakout seasons in the association this year. Detroit owns the best record in the East at 21-6. Well, Duren is averaging a monster double-double with 18 points and 11 boards, which has him at the 4th highest rebounds per game in the league. And that is very impressive from a guy who just turned 22 years old. Duren was born in November of 2003, less than 6 months before the final episode of Friends. And it's still wild to me that some of the best athletes in the world were born after Y2K. Like, what is happening? But as Zach Lowe found out, Duren still has an appreciation for the classics.
I have been told that you are a huge fan of the show Friends. Is this true?
That is true. That's my show.
So in a bizarre way, when I hear players, and you just turned 22 years old. Like people need to internalize how young you still are. You just are barely 22. And in a bizarre way, it makes me feel old when players your age tell me they like Friends so much, because I've seen almost every episode of Friends because I was a teenager when it came out on actual linear television on Thursday nights. It's weird to me that players your age are picking it up. But all right, I just have to ask, who's your favorite character? Who's your favorite friend?
My favorite character, and it used to change a lot, but consistently it's been Chandler every time. Matthew Perry, I think it is. God rest his soul too, but it's been him because I think he's the funniest to me. Now, they're all funny, but to me, he even jokes that I've heard countless of times rewatching episodes, he still makes me laugh. So I see Chandler.
Okay, you know when they say people have old souls? He just feels like he has one. That's why he appreciates Friends. Also, I guess he has a Crave subscription. It's watching Friends. The first round of the college football playoff starts tonight, with one of the most intriguing matchups as Alabama takes on Oklahoma. Usually the CFP gives us fresh matchups, but this is actually one we saw earlier this season, when OU went to Bama and shocked them by winning by 2. The Sooners are led by an amazing defense that forced 3 takeaways against Ty Simpson, including a pick 6. And they scored 17 of their 23 points off of Bama turnovers. So that's something big to watch in the rematch. This is the closest spread of the first 4 playoff games, the second being Miami and Texas A&M. But of these teams making their college football playoff debuts, the Hurricanes maybe get more attention. But the Aggies are perfect until their final game of the season, a loss to Texas. The QBs and their top wideouts will take these teams as far as they could go. For Miami, Carson Beck And freshman sensation Malachi Toney linked up for nearly 1,000 yards and 7 TDs, while Marcel Reed and Casey Concepcion put up nearly identical numbers together. The other 2 playoff matchups are double-digit spreads. Tulane gets another shot at Ole Miss, who routed them 45-10 in September. And James Madison gets the tall task of going to Oregon to face the Ducks. Amidst lots of controversy, Pete Golding makes his coaching debut for the Rebels this game, after Lane Kiffin left his team high and dry for LSU. There's not a lot you can project about Golding as a coach, but he does tweet every so often. And it's basically just shark emojis. I think somebody just told him that he had to spam something to keep his account active, so he chose sharks. You know what, Guy's a big fan of Shark Week. For Oregon, this is probably the best team outside of Indiana or Ohio State. And good news for fans who don't like upsets. In the 1-year history of the expanded 12-team playoff, there were no lower seeds winning until the quarters. That's it for me today. We'll see you back here Monday. Have an amazing weekend.